Exploring the rustic winding trails of the Ocala National Forest is just part of the fun awaiting the true outdoorsman. Here in this beautiful wilderness, the Florida Horsemen's Association stages its annual 100-mile trail ride. Riders from far and wide pack up their gear and head for the city of Umatilla, Florida, where high-heeled boots and Stetson hats are sure to set the style. The Sewell Ranch is home base for this 4-day competition. Excitement builds as owners of some of the best conditioned horses to be found anywhere start arriving. The stable area of the Sewell Ranch is a whirl of activity, a hub of work and excitement. For returning riders of past years, one of the first thrills is meeting old friends. No Florida ride would be complete without Mrs. Lucille Kenyon, who has made over 30 trail rides throughout the United States. Florida's riding grandma has twice held the title of championship rider in the state. Since the Florida trail ride is old hat to Mrs. Kenyon, she is always glad to give the rookies a few tips on grooming, because everyone is judged on horsemanship. The rider's appearance is important too. Unlike the normal horse show, these horses and riders are constantly showing for 4 continuous days. Each person is also responsible for his area of the stable and taking care of his horse. It isn't long before the rider gets a chance to meet the judges as they make their first inspection of each horse and stall. At this time, the officials and a veterinarian make a record of any previous blemishes or injuries, so they will not be charged against the horse and rider during the competition. The day's preliminaries come to a close with each horse being walked and trotted before the judges. Prior conditioning and training become quite evident here, and the judges are aware of each owner's preparation for the long-distance trail ride. Tension is at a peak. Horses are keyed up. They sense that something is soon to take place. It's up at 5 a.m., and the first day of competition begins. Weighing of riders and tack, drawing for starting position, and final check by the judges. Everything goes right on schedule. Each horse must be trotted for about a city block to show the judges how the horse performs first thing in the morning without prior exercise or warm-up. Then the competition is underway. As a rider passes the starting gate, a timekeeper gives the starting time. He checks his watch, for each rider knows that 40% of his points are based solely on timing. You can bet that every contestant will be rechecking that watch with the trail mileage markers all through the day. Because at the end of this day's ride, each horse will cross this same point again, and a recording will be made of his total time. 10 minutes too early disqualifies a rider. Over 3 minutes late, points are charged against him. Since the 100-mile ride covers 3 days of competition, the riders are required to travel 40 miles on the first day in 7 hours, 40 on the second, and 20 on the third. In addition to several water stops on the trail, the lunch area provides a short rest for both horse and rider. Even though the ride is temporarily interrupted by these stops, no time out is allowed, and the competition is still on. Even here, the rider is observed continually for his proper care and concern for his horse. Is the saddle loosened? Is the horse left to stand? Or is he walked some? In general, each person is evaluated on his horsemanship. Some riders, from past experience, know this checking is continually taking place. Others don't. The trail ride draws spectators, too. As many as 200 visitors have gathered at the rest stops to greet the riders as they come in. Some visitors follow the horses cross-country by car, watching the trailblazers at the designated crossover points. Lunch is over, and it's the home stretch from now on. More miles, more judging, more fun. By now, new friendships have been made, old friendships renewed, and a continual exchange of ideas on how each trained for the ride. Add this to the beauty of the rugged Florida landscape, and the excitement of your trail ride is hard to match. The Sewell Ranch, home of Florida Horsemen's Association, is a welcome sight at the end of the day's ride. At the finish line, each horse's time is noted, and here both judges and spectators get a good idea how the mounts have come through the 40-mile ride. Sliding out of that saddle is a good feeling to the rider as well as the horse. But the day's not over yet. There's lots to do in the stable, walking the horse, grooming, blanketing, and feeding for the night. The third day finds our riders filled with as much excitement as ever. Though the last ride is only 20 miles, it requires the same amount of discipline and knowledge of good horsemanship as before. The Florida ride is patterned after the old 300-mile endurance rides. So it's an event which measures not only the endurance of a horse, but also the horsemanship of the rider. Consequently, it is a continual challenge to all serious-minded horse owners. On the 3-day ride, you never see the same scenery twice. Each trail is laid out through a different part of the forest. Winding trails along clay roads, through dense woods, and passing clear lake shores. Judges wait at unannounced checkpoints to evaluate the progress of each horse. Each judge has a recorder who records the judge's comments, which, when summarized, will determine the final scoring of each horse. Whether it's the first day or the third day's ride, new obstacles are sure to be ever waiting on the Florida Trail to test the judgment and endurance of any serious-minded horseman. Climbing Florida's sand hills is no easy task, even for these well-conditioned mounts. There is nothing that will test the endurance of a horse like Florida sand and Florida sun. And so it goes mile after mile until the riders reach the final trail marker. 1 mile to go. With the excitement and thrills of the Florida 100 behind them, each rider is sure to reflect at this moment on these bright new experiences of the past few days. What outdoorsman could ask for a more complete vacation, as well as a chance to test his horsemanship? The Florida 100 has a big finale, too. While judges confer and tally the winning points, the riders don their best attire and prepare for the presentation of awards. Ringside is jammed with visitors, for they too are anxious to see the final parade of horsemen and the winners of the beautiful trophies. Tension is high as the riders line up to hear the results. Here is what they've been working for. Special awards for high point horse of the various breeds and trophies are given in 3 divisions: lightweight, heavyweight, and junior division. However, the greatest aim of every horseman is to complete the ride. For this feat, each horse is awarded a ribbon and certificate of this accomplishment. Believe me, this is a proud possession, for it is a symbol of hard work and many unforgettable experiences. Even while they are wrapping up this Florida 100-mile ride, many of these riders are already making plans for next year's event. Yes, every March, riders throughout the nation gather in the forest lands of Florida to enjoy a horseman's vacation, 100 miles of it.